Imagine this. You whisper a single phrase into the silence of an empty room. Once, twice, 10 times. At first, it feels absurd, like shouting into the void. But by the 100th repetition, something shifts. The words no longer feel like sounds. They become a current, a vibration aligning unseen forces around you. What if the boundary between language and reality is thinner than you've been led to believe? Here's the unsettling paradox. You've been told that words are just symbols, that they describe reality, but cannot alter it. Yet every great revolution, scientific, spiritual, political, began with a declaration, an incantation of a new possibility, the Declaration of Independence. Nietzsche's proclamation that God is dead, the whispered affirmations of a monk in meditation. Why, then, do we dismiss the power of speech as mere superstition, while history proves otherwise? What if your doubt is the very thing keeping the door locked? Consider this. A child repeats a lie until it becomes truth in their mind. A nation repeats a slogan until it reshapes its identity. A prisoner repeats a mantra until the walls of their cell dissolve. Repetition is the hidden alchemy of the human psyche, the slow drip that carves canyons into belief. So why do you resist it? Is it the fear of appearing foolish, or the deeper terror that it might actually work? The question isn't whether words have power. The question is, what have you been unconsciously repeating? Your internal monologue, the scripts of "I can't," "It's too late," "This is just how things are," has already shaped your reality. The evidence is all around you, in the life you've built sentence by silent sentence. But what if you could wield this force deliberately? What if the right words, spoken with enough conviction, could bend fate's trajectory? The answer lies in the next revelation, the hidden mechanism behind why most never dare to try. The resistance runs deep. You've been conditioned to believe reality is fixed, a rigid structure of cause and effect, where words are just passive descriptions, not active creators. But this belief itself is the trap. Carl Jung warned of the collective unconscious, the subterranean river of inherited myths, symbols, and fears that shape human behavior without our awareness. Society, education, and even language itself are built upon layers of unexamined assumptions. Friedrich Nietzsche called it the prison house of language, the way words don't just describe reality, but dictate what we're able to perceive. If your language lacks a concept, does that experience even exist for you? Viktor Frankl, surviving the horrors of Auschwitz, discovered an unsettling truth. Those who retained a meaning to live for could endure almost anything. Their words, their internal declarations, became their lifelines. Meanwhile, those who repeated despair in their minds perished first. The pattern is undeniable. What you repeat, you become. Yet here's the cruel irony. Modernity has weaponized this against you. Advertising loops the same jingles until you crave things you never needed. News cycles repeat fear until you accept chaos as inevitable. Social media algorithms feed you reinforcing echoes of your own limitations. You are drowning in repetition, but none of it is yours. None of it serves you. Arthur Schopenhauer saw it clearly. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. You are not free if your thoughts are programmed by forces you don't understand. And so, the great tragedy unfolds. Most people live as prisoners of borrowed words, reciting scripts they didn't write, wondering why their fate feels so immovable. But what if the key isn't just repeating any words, but the right ones? The ones that crack open the unconscious and rewrite the code? The answer lies in the shadows, in the consequences of leaving this force unchecked. The words you repeat, both aloud and in the hidden chambers of your mind, do not simply vanish into the air. They take root. They etch themselves into your neural pathways with the precision of a sculptor carving marble. Every "I'm not ready," every "this always happens to me," every "it's too late" is not a passing thought. It is a slow, methodical construction of your cage. Neuroscience confirms this. Hebb's law states that neurons, which fire together, wire together. The more you reinforce a thought, the more automatic it becomes, until it ceases to be a thought at all and transforms into instinct. Your beliefs are not just ideas you hold. They are physiological structures, grooves worn so deep in your brain that choice itself begins to disappear. You don't think your thoughts. Your thoughts think you. But the consequences run deeper than personal stagnation. Jean-Paul Sartre warned of bad faith, the self-deception where humans pretend they have no freedom, all while quietly choosing their own chains. Look around. How many people recite powerlessness like a prayer? The system is rigged. People like me don't get breaks. I'll always be stuck. These aren't observations. They are incantations, spells cast upon the self to ensure the world mirrors back the expected misery. And the most insidious lie? That this is realism? Aldous Huxley foresaw it, a dystopia not of brute force, but of voluntary submission to distraction, to triviality, to the numbing repetition of disempowerment. You are not resisting some external oppressor. You are complicit in your own hypnosis. The evidence is everywhere. In the dreams deferred, the risks untaken, the lives half-lived, because the mind has been conditioned to mistake its prison for safety. But here's the turning point, the moment the pattern reveals its flaw. If repetition can chain you, it can also free you. The question is no longer whether words shape reality, but which reality you dare to speak into existence. The rebellion begins not with a shout, but with a whisper, one you'll repeat until the walls tremble. The first act of rebellion is not an explosion, it is a repetition. A quiet, deliberate defiance of the scripts you've inherited. You must become an architect of your own incantations, constructing phrases so potent they dissolve the old neural pathways like acid on rust. History whispers the blueprint. The ancient Stoics repeated maxims to fortify their minds against chaos. Rumi spun poetry into devotion until the words themselves became divine. Beethoven, deaf and despairing, wrote, "I will seize fate by the throat," and then did exactly that. They understood the secret. Repetition is not mere habit. It is ritual, alchemy. But here's where most fail. They choose words their subconscious doesn't believe. To declare, "I am limitless," while your gut churns with doubt, is to plant seeds in concrete. Nietzsche's solution? Become who you are. Start with truth so undeniable, they bypass resistance. I am awake. I choose courage. I persist. These are not affirmations. They are prompts, reprogramming your mind one synaptic rewrite at a time. The technique is counterintuitive. Speak until you no longer hear the words, until you become them. Viktor Frankl's prisoners who survived didn't chant hollow optimism. They anchored themselves in irreducible truths. I am a father. My story matters. These were lifelines thrown into the future. Your words must have the same weight, not wishful thinking, but declarations of identity. Now the critical shift. Pair repetition with action. The Buddhists call this right speech, words that align with deeds. If you repeat, "I am fearless," but avoid discomfort, the hypocrisy will poison the spell. But if you whisper, "I embrace the unknown," and then take one step into it, that is when the universe begins to rearrange itself. The rebellion is here. The tools are in your hands. But the final revelation, the one that will make all prior struggles click into place, lies just beyond this last threshold. Here's the secret that ties it all together. You are never speaking to the universe. You are speaking to yourself. The words you repeat are not magic spells that bend external reality. They are scalpels that cut through the illusions of your own mind. When you declare, "I am enough," 100 times, you are not convincing the stars to align. You are dismantling the lie that you ever were not. Fate doesn't shift because the cosmos obeys your words. It shifts because you finally obey your own. This is what the ancients knew. The divine dialogue was always an internal one. The Hindu sages chanting, Tat Pham Asi, Thou art that. The Christian mystics whispering, The kingdom of God is within. The Jungian journey of integrating shadow and light all point to the same staggering truth. Reality mirrors the conversations you have with yourself when no one is listening. Now you understand why this works. The phrase you repeat is not important because of its mystical vibrations, but because it forces you to confront what you truly believe. Every time your voice falters on, I am worthy, you expose a wound. Every time the words feel hollow, you meet the resistance of your own conditioning. And when at last you speak them with unwavering certainty, that is the moment you have become them. So here is the final paradox. The incantation was never about changing fate. It was about recognizing that you are fate. The external world, the opportunities, the synchronicities, the so-called luck, was always just a delayed echo of your internal narrative. Now, the choice is yours. Will you repeat the old words, the ones that keep you small and predictable? Or will you choose new ones, words so alive they burn through the past like a wildfire? Speak, again, until the echo becomes your voice, until the voice becomes your truth, until your truth becomes the world.